Hello, 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 YouTubers. This is the Anonymous Reality TV blogger. Hope you guys are having an amazing day today. Today, I am going to be reviewing Love Island Australia Season 3, Episode 17, and we are at the conclusion of the Casa Amor week. And first and foremost, before I get into this review, round of applause for Love Island Australia for getting Casa Amor right and being the first franchise to get Casa Amor right. One moment. Epic week. OMG. I want to say first and foremost, Love Island USA, Love Island UK. This is how you do Casa Amor. I love the idea of staggering the men and the women. I love daily updates of what's going on with the OG's couple, what they're doing on the other side with their Casa Amor people. First giving you an intro of what these people look like, then hitting you with some inappropriate photographs that you don't know is from a challenge or if it's from something else. And then, of course, the dagger, the video footage, which either makes or breaks these connections in Love Island. Bravo. Love all of it. Love the time that both the OG men and the OG women had to decompress before their Casa Amor people arrived, or in the case of the men, after their Casa Amor people arrived, to either reinforce their decisions or potentially change their minds. Very, very well done. The only change I would say is they just needed a few more days. I think if the guys had 3 or 4 more days with the girls, the Casa Amor girls, and the OG girls had 3 or 4 days with the guys, and then they could just have the 1 or 2 days on their own or what have you. I think it would have just been perfect. It would have just been a perfect week. But this was close enough. This did the job that it needed to do. This did the damage that it needed to do. And I am here for all of it. The episode, first and foremost, starts off with a nice little montage of Ryan's greatest hits, of Ryan in action being a womanizer, of Ryan kissing on anything and everything that is not named Lexie, of Ryan telling anybody, the rubber ducky, the producers, the OG guys, anybody who would listen, the fire pit, that he is not coming back to pick Lexie, that Lexie and him are donezo, and either he's breaking her heart or he hopes she's smart enough to couple up with somebody else, but he is donezo, and he cannot wait to walk into that villa with Taylor on his arm after all of his activity. And it is just incredible. I mean, this guy has no remorse for anything. He is just in his own little zone. And so the first part, we get into the episode. It's a lot of filler in terms of the Casa Amor guys pretending to think that they have a chance, even though they all look over it on their face, including Ben and including Josh. I felt bad the most for Shane, because I felt like Shane, out of all of them, really deserved an opportunity to be in the villa, to have an opportunity to have a chance. He seemed the nicest, honestly, out of all of the guys. And I just felt so bad for him because he really liked Courtney, but unfortunately, Courtney did not feel the same way. So that was on that. So Lexie and Ben, they have another conversation. She's still unsure. Zoe, I don't know what she was talking about. She had some type of intuition thing where she hugged herself and closed her eyes and told Lexie that, if you ask her a question, if Ryan's going to come back, single, and it's going to be yes. And I'm just looking at Zoe like, girl, you saw the footage. You saw the photos. On what earth? Please let me know. Is it the flat earth? What earth is it that you think that Ryan's coming back single? I would love to know what type of, intuition that was. Oh my. So, of course, Lexie is going through it. The girls are missing the guys. Tina and Jess, they're looking at old photos of, their guys and like, oh my gosh, I miss them and blah, blah, blah. And it was cute for what it was. And really that was it for the end of that day. So then the next day, of course, is the recoupling day. During the day, there really wasn't much activity going on. And so then Josh gets a text that him and Courtney have one last date to, see if there's anything there. And then also Ben gets a text that, him and Lexie have one last date to see if there's anything there. And I love the commentator because they're like, yeah, we have no money. We spent it all on COVID protection efforts. So they set up a little mock date by the swing and just put like a couple of mimosas and fruit there for Miss Courtney and Josh. And then like literally feet away was a little blanket and, a little similar setup for Lexie and Ben on the ground. And of course, the Chris Hemsworth chicken walking around, seeing all of the action that's happening. Lexie, of course, still undecided, but deep down really wants to couple back up with Ryan, but knows she would be making a fool of herself if she makes that decision, but still keeps telling Ben she doesn't know what she's going to do. And then Ben is at the point that he's resigned to the fact that he doesn't think he's getting picked, that he basically tells her, hey, if it's not me, I understand. I've come to the acceptance portion of my grief that this isn't going to happen. So he's already like ready to go. He thinks that there's no way that Lexie is going to choose him. And so Courtney, she keeps reiterating that, Nicholas is the bad boy that she's used to going out and partying with. However, Josh is the guy that she actually wants because he's actually a nice person. And, she really wants to give him a chance. So pretty much Courtney sounds like she's done with Nick. Then on both sides after the date, they get text messages in both the villa as well as the Casa Amor villa where the OG guys are staying that, the recoupling this evening is going to be, whoever is single is going to be dumped. Simple as that. Whether, the guy comes back single or the girl chooses not to recouple, whoever is single is getting dumped from the island. So that added some additional pressure. Aaron's going over potential scenarios, with Mitch based off of what Courtney does or doesn't do, based off on what, a couple of the other people do or don't do, and, what's going to happen with Lexie. And then, of course, Taku, we don't know what's going to happen with him because he can choose to basically end his journey, which would be foolish since he knows that Australia loves him. So, that would be crazy if Taku eliminated himself after everything. But, stranger things have happened on this show, so who really knows? So with that being said, everybody then, starts getting ready for the recoupling. Of course, Sophia comes in looking fierce in this little pink number. And, she has been hilarious this episode. All of the OG guys were hilarious this episode because their facial reactions to all these recoupling speeches and just all of the drama was just on point, on 1,000. And it was just so nice to watch. So, of course, Sophie really sets it up to the girls that, if Taku, if he comes back single, this ends his journey. And Courtney's having a meltdown and she's like, Taku, he's the nicest guy here. I don't know what I'm going to do. And he deserves love the most and blah, 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 blah. And I was like, oh my gosh, these girls are going to lose it. And so, Taku is first to come back from Casa Amor. And he, of course, comes back with Michaela and everybody. And it's so funny to me because Courtney was one of the main ones who were bashing the Casa Amor girls. And she's the first to get up there and hug Taku and welcome Michaela to the villa. And I'm just like, oh, wait till Michaela gets out of here and sees what these girls said about her. Poor thing. But it was nice that they were being welcoming and that they were happy that Taku was with somebody. So definitely, as long as him and Michaela push through, I definitely think they're going to be top 3 for sure. unless something crazy happens, they definitely are going to be one of the top 3 couples. So after that, we next have Zoe. And, Sophie asks Zoe for what her decision is. And so, she said that she's been faithful. She's hoping basically that, Chris has been faithful and that he comes back single. And so it's funny because the guys come through this double door, like with the heart, but they open one side of the door if they're coming back single, but they open up both of the doors if, they come back with somebody. But it was kind of some trickery going on because they would come in on like opposite doors. So people you thought were coming back in a couple were really coming back single. And then people you thought were coming back single were actually coming back in a couple. So it was a little crazy. So when Chris came out, I thought he was coming back because the way the doors opened, it looked like he was opening, for 2 people, but it ended up just being him. And it was cute because he like ran to Zoe to kiss her. And then she was like talking about how much she missed them and missed his little, talking and stuff. And he did his little thing, and it was really cute. They were really, excited and happy. And I really can see the strength of their connection. And I also believe they have a really fighting shot to make it to the end. They are getting a very good edit. Even though they're setting it up for 2 other couples that I'll get to, that they are setting up, obviously, that they want to win. I really think that Zoe and Chris can pull it off if, because Zoe reminds me so much of Millie from UK season 7, this past season that passed. And I won't spoil it, but those of you who know what I'm talking about know what the outcome was for Millie. So essentially, that's who Zoe reminds me of. And the only difference is she didn't have Chris, act up on Casa Amor. But they're just getting a glowing edit. So then after Miss Zoe, we also had, I skipped over somebody, Jess and Aaron. So Jess went after Taku, actually. Now that I'm remembering, Jess, basically said that she missed Aaron and, she couldn't wait to see him, and she doesn't think, she had anything to worry about, and that she's all in with him and trusts him until he gave her a reason not to trust. And so basically she expects for him to come back single. So then Aaron comes back single, and he is just over the moon. He like runs and hugs and kisses Jess. He's like so excited to see her. And then they all have to go back and talk to Sophie about their experience at Casa Amor and, how they miss their girls and everything else. And, they all reiterated that they had some sense of doubt, even though they didn't see anything that was damaging from, the pictures or the footage or anything. So, that pretty much was that with them. And so then we get to the good stuff, which is the Lexie and Ryan drama, which I kind of wanted them to save for last, but there was something else that even eclipsed that I guess the reaction was warranted. So, Lexie goes in, basically saying how she thought that everything was 100 with her and Ryan, that her and Ryan were going to go the distance and this and that. And then the instant that he's at Casa Amor, he just completely wilded out and was cheating away and gave no care in the world. And, she thought about potentially staying with him, but she realized she would be hurt or she would be treated horribly, especially if his heart wasn't into it, and she was still mad at him for being played. So she was all over the place for a long time. I still thought, even after all she said all of this, that she still was going to choose to pick Ryan and risk herself basically getting dumped from the island, because I just wanted to be like, Lexie girl, Lexie, recouple. I just kept shouting it. I'm like, Lexie, recouple. Like, Ryan did the most dirt out of everybody. There is no way he's not coming back with somebody. So please recouple. And so ultimately, Lexie said whether it develops into something or it's a friendship couple. And I was like, thank goodness. She ended up recoupling with Ben, and, Ben was happy and ecstatic, and, Sophie's all like, welcome to the villa. And it was really nice. And so then we get to Ryan. And, they explain that if Ryan comes back single, that he's dumped for the island. And I had a moment where I was like, I would be okay with this. I would be okay with Ryan being dumped from the island because it's karma for how he played Ari. But I was like, you know what? I'm like, let me just wait and see how this plays out and, see what goes from there. But the one thing I will say really quickly regarding Lexie, I am surprised that she is so all in on Ryan, that she really thought she couldn't be played when she saw how quickly Ryan ignored Ryan ignored Ari the second that Lexie picked him to recouple. And literally Ryan did even worse to Lexie than what Ryan did to Ari, because it was literally the moment that he was away from Lexie, he couldn't hold in his, attraction to anybody else that was not named Lexie. So he did her very dirty. And I am surprised that, a man who admitted to having a spreadsheet to keep tabs of the 500 people he slept with, that Lexie thought that he was going to be faithful and that he was going to, be in this in the long run with her. So thank goodness she chose to recouple with Ben. So then Ryan comes in. Of course, he brings Taylor, and Ryan, he kind of has this like smug look on his face. Like he looks like he's not remorseful, even though he's like pretending to say all the right words to Lexie, but basically just said that, he felt a stronger connection with Taylor and this and that. And, that he wasn't a good boy at Casa Amor. And so it was funny because Lexie really didn't have much to say, other than she was surprised and she was hurt and everything. And then it was funny because she did, I don't know, for those of you who've seen The Devil Wears Prada, she did a Meryl Streep where she had like this very brief, like, I thought this was going to be this, but it wasn't. So that's all. And that's everything. And it just took me back to The Devil Wears Prada because that's all Meryl Streep did. She was just like, that's all. That'll be all. That's all. And it was just hilarious. I was like, go Lexie, let it go. Do not give him any of your tears. Keep it moving and get to know Ben. So then after Ryan and Taylor sit down, we then have Tina and Mitch, who obviously they're trying to set up as the winners. So, Tina basically is, saying that she, doesn't have any, doubts on her end in terms of her behavior at Casa Amor, and thinks that Mitch, with everything that they've been through, should know what they have. So hopefully, even though she didn't see anything damaging in the Casa Amor pictures or footage, that, there's still that sense of doubt that potentially anything could happen. So then, Sophie, of course, lets, Tina know, asks her what her decision is, if she's going to stick with Mitch or if she's going to, split and do something else and recouple. And so Tina says that she is going to stick with Mitch. And so then after that, they then ask, for Mitch to come in. And so Mitch, he pushes open both doors and, runs out and runs to Tina. They have this dramatic recoupling, and he picks her up and her legs are wrapped around him and they're kissing. And then her dress is hiking all the way up that she has to get down and put herself down. And they're all excited, and it was so funny and it was so cute. And Mitch was just completely over the moon that he got to come back and, see that Tina obviously decided to stick with him, and he stuck with her. So I definitely think they're setting up for this to be the Mitch and Tina competition to lose. Although I really am rooting for Taku and Michaela, and I am really rooting for Zoe and Chris. I like Tina and Mitch, but I don't know, over these past few weeks, Zoe and Chris have really grown on me. And of course, Taku's my fave. And also Aaron really has grown on me, because at the beginning I was he could be eliminated, he's not nice. But now it's he's one of the nicest people. Taku is really rubbing off on these people in the villa. He got these men copying dates off of him and being nice to all the women and everything else. So it's incredible. And I know Aaron missed, of course, Jessica and him doing their skincare routine and their eye masks and, making sure their skin is clear. Like, I know he just missed all of it. And there was no woman in Casa Amor that was going to put up with that. And so then finally we get to Courtney. And so at first I was like, well, why did they save Courtney for last? Like, what is there? We already know what she's going to do. But we didn't know what Nick was going to do. And that's the tea. So, Courtney goes on, about her connection with Josh and, how he's like one of the nicest people. And she really appreciated the connection that they have and, was really all about it. And although she had some feelings for Nicholas, she felt as though before Casa Amor, since it was early stages, that he kind of, was back and forth with her. He really wasn't all in with her and he kind of pulled back from her. So that kind of, with that, as well as the footage and the receipts from his behavior at Casa Amor, it kind of made her decision a little bit easier. However, I think Courtney underestimated how strong her feelings were actually for Nicholas after it was all said and done. And so Courtney chooses, of course, to recouple and recouples with Josh. And so Courtney, I think deep down was hoping while she was waiting for Nicholas that Nicholas chose somebody, that he came back with somebody. And so then Nick comes back. Dun, 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 dun. Single! Nick comes back single, shocks the heck out of the girls, and they cannot believe it. And it is so crazy because I wasn't even expecting it. I thought Nick was going to come back with somebody. And Nick actually looked good. Like, he looked really nice. And, he basically said that he was sorry for playing mind games with Courtney. And he said that he wasn't going to pick somebody just to stay on the show. And that he had a feeling that Courtney would probably choose somebody after his behavior at Casa Amor. And that was a risk that, he was willing to take. But he seemed at peace. It seemed like he was ready to go. Because he said basically that none of the girls, had the connection that he had with Courtney. So which is why he thought he would come back and recouple with her. But he was at peace in the sense that, he would, come back if she was with somebody and he has to go. So, Sophie lets them know that all the Casa Amor men that are single, as well as Nicholas, have to say their goodbyes and that they are dumped from the villa. And Courtney is hysterical. Courtney is like not happy that Nicholas is eliminated. And I saw a teaser for the next episode, for tomorrow's episode for Tuesday. And Courtney is losing her mind. She is like, upset with Nicholas, asking him why he didn't choose somebody. And that, she's in her feelings, like for real, because she can't believe this. And then also in the previews, Lexie and Taylor have a woman-to-woman conversation, and then Lexie and Ryan have a conversation where Ryan is just dogging her and telling her that she's a little girl and that she's not mature. And then Lexie points to her earrings and calls Ryan a snake. And then, of course, they show the night vision preview of Ryan and Taylor, in their honeymoon, in their own little world. Like, Ryan hasn't just pissed off the villa. And I cannot wait to see what girl is going to say something to him. Because it was so funny, because Tina, she said that she felt like she was going to throw up. Like, she just couldn't believe how Ryan was so brazen and was like, well, everyone's here for themselves. And it was like, he just did not care at all. It was so crazy. It was so wild. And then the other portion of the teaser for the next episode is they're playing the truth bike again. And so they ask, of course, Taylor, the Casa Amor girl, if she thinks that she could trust Ryan. So it's going to be lit tomorrow. I cannot wait until the aftermath. until the outcome. I wonder what is going to happen with this Courtney thing and this Josh thing, because she has been missing on all of these connections thus far. And it would be hilarious if she actually does end up liking Nicholas when it's all said and done. And it wouldn't surprise me at all, because they have done this in the UK, they have done this in the US versions, where if there is a connection and somebody, goes, and then there's like some last minute regrets or some potential that, maybe there's unfinished business or unresolved issues, that they try to reunite those people, whether or not they win the show, and try to, see if there's something there post season after the show is wrapped. So I don't know if necessarily the journey is over between Nicholas and Courtney. We'll have to see. And then the only other thing that they did show in the preview is that it looks like Taku and Michaela are heating things up. So more to come on that. I cannot wait to see what happens there. So yeah, I cannot wait. I cannot wait for this next episode. I've been so excited to watch, and I'm so excited to review this episode, because it was just amazing. It was worth it. It was an hour of greatness. So I am very appreciative and grateful. That is all I have. Sorry, this was a little lengthy, but there was just a lot to get to. And please let me know your thoughts in the comments. And don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. And as usual, I will talk to you guys again soon.